Pack your bags, we're headed on a big old ride. With dreams of sunlit shores and the open skies. From the hills of Cyprus to where the world collides.
All right, so get ready to say goodbye to the ordinary and hello to the Caribbean.
That's right. We are about to swap those dreary everyday routines with some sunshine, some beaches, and a little adventure.
And maybe even a few surprises along the way, right?
Always.
Okay, so today we're diving into the world of travel blogs, but with a twist.
Ooh, I like a good twist. What have we got?
Well, we're setting sail with Rob and Mandy, a couple who traded in their life in Cardiff for a new adventure in Cyprus.
Okay, so already we have an interesting backstory.
Right. And their blog, A New Life Planned in Cyprus, is full of their adventures, from settling into village life to, you guessed it, a Caribbean cruise.
Now, a Caribbean cruise is a classic getaway, but there's something about Rob and Mandy's experiences. I don't know, they just have a knack for finding those little details that make all the difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And their 2016 cruise is a perfect example.
Yeah.
They don't just tell you about the beaches, they bring you right there with them.
And they're not afraid to share the, shall we say, character-building moments of travel either.
Exactly. Like their layover in Gatwick before the cruise, they even had a little pre-cruise ritual at a pub called Ye Old Six Bells. It makes you wonder if it's a good luck charm for them.
Right. Like a must-do before setting sail.
I love that. It's those little details that make you feel like you're part of their journey. And speaking of their journey, get this. To get from Cyprus to the Caribbean, they flew over the snow-capped Alps.
Wow, talk about a contrast in scenery.
Right. From snow-capped peaks to turquoise waters. Yeah. It's like they were easing themselves into the whole island time mindset.
I like it. So where did their Caribbean adventure officially begin?
They set sail from the vibrant island of Barbados aboard the Thompson Celebration. Have you ever been on that ship?
I haven't, but I've heard good things. It's known for a more classic, traditional cruise experience.
Very cool.
Yeah, a little bit of old school charm.
Perfect for soaking in the ambience. And speaking of soaking things in, their first stop was the breathtaking island of St. Lucia. Get ready, because this is where their adventure really kicks into high gear.
Ah, St. Lucia. Known for its lush rainforest, those iconic Pittman Mountains, and volcanic mud baths.
You read that right. They met up with a local guide named Spencer Ambos and his daughter. She loves a good family run tour, and dove headfirst into the St. Lucian experience.
Literally headfirst into those mud baths. That's one way to connect with nature.
Right. And it sounds like they really embraced the experience. I mean, where else can you go from being covered in volcanic mud?
Which is supposed to be amazing for your skin, by the way.
Oh, is it? There you go. But yeah, they went from the mud bath straight to a refreshing dip in the Teray waterfall.
Talk about a revitalizing rinse.
Right. And then, because no trip to St. Lucia is complete without it, they visited a banana plantation.
Of course. Gotta have those fresh sugar bananas. It's all about the flavors of the island.
Exactly. They even squeezed in lunch at Captain Hook's bar, followed by, get this, sunbathing and snorkeling at Jalusi Sugar Beach.
Wait, hold on. Jalusi Sugar Beach, isn't that the one nestled right between those famous Pittman Mountains?
The one and only.
Wow, what a view that must have been.
Right. And as if that wasn't enough, they stumbled upon a Pirates of the Caribbean filming location. I'm telling you, these two have a knack for finding those cinematic moments.
They really do. It's like they're living in a postcard.
Okay, but buckle up, because their adventure doesn't stop there. Next up, they're off to the island of Cureaco. And get this. They toured the island in a converted school bus.
A school bus. Now that's a unique way to see the sights.
Right. And it gets even better. No windows.
No windows. Wow, talk about embracing the element.
Right. I can only imagine the breeze, the sounds, the smells. It's like being fully immersed in the island.
I wonder if that was their choice or if it was a spontaneous adventure.
Either way, they were definitely in for a memorable ride. They visited the Cureaco liqueur distillery, which, by the way, I've heard is pretty strong stuff.
Right.
Yeah. They also took in the views of Table Mountain from the Spanish Waters Marina.
Cureaco's interesting. It has this fascinating blend of Dutch, Spanish, and African influences.
Oh, I bet.
Even the landscape is a mix, with those colorful colonial buildings against that rugged coastline.
And Rob and Mandy experienced it all. Imagine walking through the Dutch-influenced Old Town, and then, out of nowhere, seeing a massive cargo ship passing through that famous floating bridge. It's moments like that that make you realize just how diverse our world really is.
Absolutely.
But are you ready for another island? Because their adventure continues in Aruba. So they land in Aruba, and right off the bat, they're greeted by their local guide, Ivan. I always say local guides can make or break a trip.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
They hold the keys to those hidden gems, the stories you wouldn't find in any guidebook.
exactly. And in Aruba, they were off to a flying start, heading straight for the California lighthouse.
Ah, the views from there must have been incredible. You can see the entire island, right?
Panoramic. And then get this, they went from the lighthouse to a volcanic rock park.
Yeah.
It's like they were going for the extremes, from sweeping vistas to these up-close and personal encounters with nature.
I love that contrast. And speaking of contrasts, they also explored an old Dutch gold smelting plant on the rugged East Coast. It's a reminder that these islands have a history beyond tourism.
Right. It makes you think about the people who came before, the industries that shaped these places.
Absolutely. It adds a whole new layer to the experience.
Speaking of layers, after all that exploring, a well-deserved lunch was in order. They had lunch at Tulip's restaurant, and then, get this, they ended up at Eagle Beach. Now, I've heard whispers that Eagle Beach is on another level.
Oh, it is. It consistently ranks as one of the best beaches in the world. The white sand is like powdered sugar, and those divvy trees, sculpted by the trade winds,
So picturesque.
it's postcard perfect.
It sounds like they knew exactly where to go for some relaxation. But their island-hopping adventure wasn't over yet. Next stop, Bonaire. Bonaire. Now, that's a destination close to my heart. It's a diver's paradise, known for its incredible marine life and commitment to conservation. Did they go snorkeling or diving?
They did. They hopped on a catamaran called the Mushi Mushi, how cool is that name? And headed straight for the Bonaire Marine Park. Oh, I'm jealous. The Bonaire National Marine Park is world-renowned. The reefs are teeming with life, and the water is crystal clear.
And it sounds like they had a fantastic guide on the catamaran, too. They mentioned his sense of humor and his deep knowledge of the island's ecosystem, which they love.
It makes all the difference when you have a guide who's passionate about sharing their knowledge, right?
Absolutely.
Mm.
But Bonaire wasn't all about underwater adventures. They also explored the town, did a little shopping, and even caught a musical show on the ship that evening.
It's that balance, isn't it? They're embracing both the thrill of adventure and those moments of relaxation and entertainment.
Exactly. They're not just ticking things off a list. They're really immersing themselves in the experience.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of sensory experiences, their next stop was the Spice Island of Grenada. I can only imagine what that must have smelled like.
Oh, Grenada. The aroma of nutmeg and other spices is intoxicating.
Really?
It's one of the world's largest exporters of nutmeg, you know. Did they visit any spice plantations?
They didn't mention that specifically, but they did get a unique experience. They attended a Q&A session with the ship's captain and hotel manager.
Now, that's not something you see every day. I wonder what they asked about.
Sadly, they didn't go into detail, but they did say it was fascinating to get a behind-the-scenes look at the cruise operation. But don't worry, they still made time for those quintessential Grenada experiences, like Grand Anse Beach, palm trees, local beers, the works.
That sounds like the perfect afternoon, just soaking up the sun and enjoying the simple pleasures.
Right, and they even got a taste of local life with a mini carnival experience in town. I know. They did mention a quick stop at a sports bar to catch up on emails, because, let's face it, even on a Caribbean cruise, real life doesn't completely disappear.
It's true, those emails are always there waiting.
Right. But then, as all good things must, their Caribbean adventure was drawing to a close. They found themselves back where they started, on the vibrant island of Barbados.
A full circle moment. I wonder if they had any reflections as they sailed back into port, thinking about all the incredible experiences they had packed into one trip.
It makes you realize how much you can fit into even a short amount of time, especially when you're island hopping. And speaking of Barbados, they did mention that they had bookended their cruise with some extra time on the island, which makes me think they had a plan.
Oh, I bet they did. They strike me as the type who likes to venture beyond the usual tourist spots. After all, they said it themselves, the real treasures are often found off the beaten path.
Exactly. And that seems to be the theme of their travel style, embracing the unexpected, seeking out those authentic moments, and really immersing themselves in the destination.
It's a great reminder that travel isn't just about checking places off a list. It's about collecting stories and experiences.
Well said. And, it makes you realize that there are countless ways to experience a single destination.
Absolutely. It all comes down to what speaks to you, what kind of traveler you are. So to our listeners, we leave you with this. If you were to chart your own Caribbean adventure, which island would call to you, and what kind of explorer would you be?
It really makes you think about what kind of traveler you are, Are you all about those picture-perfect beaches, or are you more drawn to the history and culture of a place.
Or maybe a little bit of both. I think the beauty of travel is that there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's about finding what resonates with you.
Absolutely.
And for them, it started with a beeline straight to the Seabreeze Hotel on the South Coast. Now, I don't know about you, but South Coast, Barbados, just screams paradise to me.
You're not wrong. There's a reason it's such a draw. You see, unlike some of the other Caribbean islands, Barbados isn't volcanic. It's actually coral limestone, which is pretty unique.
Oh, wow. I never knew that. What difference does that make?
It's what gives Barbados its iconic look and feel, especially along the South Coast. Picture ancient reefs pushed up over millions of years. That creates these amazing white sand beaches and calm turquoise waters.
Okay, I'm picturing it. So different from those dramatic volcanic landscapes you sometimes see.
Exactly. And the South Coast is particularly special because it's a bit more sheltered from the trade winds. Perfect for swimming, calm waves if you want to try a little water sport. Even good for kids to splash around.
And speaking of kids, Rob and Mandy mentioned they saw a 4-year-old learning to surf. That just paints a picture, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Surfing is huge in Barbados. It's woven right into their culture, especially on the South Coast. To see a little one out there catching waves, it tells you it's not just a tourist thing. It's in their blood.
It's like that perfect blend. You can have your chilled out beach vibes and also tap into that adventurous spirit.
Exactly. And what's cool is that Barbados caters to both. You got those tranquil beaches, but then this underlying energy, a real vibrancy that keeps things interesting.
It's like they've found that sweet spot, appealing to everyone. You can sip a rum punch while watching someone carve up a wave. But beach life aside, Rob and Mandy were also eager to get a taste of local life. They hopped on this bus. They called it the Reggie Bus, which sounds adorable to check out Bridgetown and a fishing village called Oysons.
Oysons is a must visit. It's the place to be, especially on a Friday night for their famous fish fry. But even during the day, it's buzzing. They were really struck by the markets, both in Bridgetown and Oysons, and with good reason.
Oh, I bet. The sights, the smells, there's something so authentic about a market experience, right? You can't really replicate that anywhere else.
You get it. Markets are like a window into the soul of a place. It's all there, raw and unfiltered. The freshest produce, what locals are cooking, their crafts. It's a feast for the senses.
And let's be honest, it's not just about browsing. It's about the bargaining, the friendly banter. You connect with the people, the farmers, the artisans. There's a real story behind every stall.
Spot on. And from what Rob and Mandy wrote, that really resonated with them. That warmth, that open, friendly vibe. It seems like a common thread in Barbados, you know?
Yeah.
You're not just a tourist, you're welcomed in.
It's about feeling that genuine connection, even if it's just for a little while. And speaking of genuine, let's talk about another crucial part of the travel experience: food. They experienced it all, from casual eats at the marina to a fancy dinner at their hotel, Azul. Imagine waves crashing right next to you as you dine.
Wow, talk about atmosphere. It's amazing how they managed to experience that full spectrum of dining, from fresh off-the-boat seafood to those more high-end places. It speaks to that fusion of influences you find in Barbados, a real melting pot of flavors.
And then, of course, there was the cocktail party. Oh, and did I mention they witnessed a beach wedding?
No way! That's incredible.
Yeah, a real once-in-a-lifetime experience. And you know, it made me think, destination weddings in Barbados are so popular for a reason, right? Who wouldn't want to say, I do, with their toes in the sand? It's the epitome of romance.
I can practically feel the ocean breeze and hear those gentle waves. It's more than just a pretty backdrop, though, don't you think? There's something about it that speaks to what Barbados represents.
You took the words right out of my mouth. It's like they found that balance. Luxurious resorts and charming guest houses, all while retaining this authentic culture. It's not overrun by tourism. It feels like they've managed to protect that local heart and soul. It's that authenticity, right? That's what really shines through. But their trip wasn't all sunshine and beaches. Their flight back to Cyprus included a layover in England.
Oh, wow. Talk about a temperature shock. From the Caribbean to, well, England in February.
Right. Quite the change of pace. But here's the thing. Instead of just holing up in the airport, they made the most of it. Stayed with friends, did some exploring in Guildford, even squeezed in a visit to the cathedral.
I love that. It really shows their mindset, you know. They didn't see it as just a layover, but as another opportunity for a little adventure. That's what travel's all about, isn't it? Embracing those unexpected moments.
Totally. It's like that saying, it's the journey, not the destination. They have their Barbados itinerary, sure, but it's those unscripted moments, those detours and discoveries that really make a trip memorable.
Absolutely. And often those become the best stories, the ones you tell again and again. It's a good reminder for all of us to be a bit more flexible when we travel. Say yes to those unexpected opportunities. Who knows where they might lead?
They strike me as the type who likes to venture beyond the usual tourist spots. After all, they said it themselves, the real treasures are often found off the beaten path.
Exactly. And that seems to be the theme of their travel style, embracing the unexpected, seeking out those authentic moments, and really immersing themselves in the destination.
It's a great reminder that travel isn't just about checking places off a list. It's about collecting stories and experiences.
Well said. And, it makes you realize that there are countless ways to experience a single destination.
Absolutely. It all comes down to what speaks to you, what kind of traveler you are. So to our listeners, we leave you with this. If you were to chart your own Caribbean adventure, which island would call to you, and what kind of explorer would you be?
It really makes you think about what kind of traveler you are, Are you all about those picture-perfect beaches, or are you more drawn to the history and culture of a place?
Or maybe a little bit of both. I think the beauty of travel is that there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's about finding what resonates with you.
Absolutely. And Rob and Mandy's Caribbean Adventure is a perfect example of that. They showed us that you can find adventure in the expected and the unexpected.
And that sometimes the most memorable moments are the ones you didn't plan for.
Exactly. So, as we wrap up our deep dive into Rob and Mandy's Caribbean cruise, I'm left feeling incredibly inspired. Inspired to embrace those off-the-beaten-path moments, to seek out those authentic connections, and to remember that travel is about so much more than just checking destinations off a list.
It's about collecting experiences, creating memories, and maybe even discovering a little something about yourself along the way.
Perfectly said. So until next time, happy travels, everyone.
You like flying where we never hide.
Out on the highway, chasing the tide.